Hello, this is a presentation about pivot tables. I'll be describing pivot tables using a very simple example. What I have here in this Excel spreadsheet is a one-table database. It describes the performance, the activities of three salespeople, Mary, Fred, and Wilma. Now these salespeople sell furniture, tables, chairs, and cupboards. And this furniture was sold over a 3-month period, January, February, and March. So for example, that cell there, which happens to be C7. In that cell, or what does that value 541 represent? What it means is that Mary sold one chair for $541 during the month of March. So this is effectively a one-table database describing the sales activities or performances of three salespeople, people who are selling furniture over a 3-month period. The columns are sometimes described as fields. The first row contains the name of the fields, the field names. Every other row is often described or defined as a record. The entire structure is defined from cell A1 all the way to cell E23. So it's a rectangular arrangement of cells, and the way it's defined from the top left cell all the way to the bottom right cell. Traditionally, if you want this to work in the easiest and fastest possible way, you shouldn't have any record that is completely blank. You shouldn't have any column that is completely blank. And as a matter of fact, none of these field names should be blank. So you begin by just clicking anywhere in this table. The next thing you do, move your mouse up and click on Insert. Then you click on Pivot Table. So that's the Pivot Table dialog box. In here, the actual table, the one-table database is defined. It's in Sheet 1, obviously, starting at A1 all the way to E23. My pivot table will be created in a new worksheet. I click OK. Now, the categories, the things that I want described, they are the salespeople themselves, defined by their name. So conventionally, what you would do is you take this field name, called name, and you would drag it and drop it into row labels. They're all my salespeople, Fred, Mary, and Wilma. Now, if we go back to my original spreadsheet, sheet 1 here, this one table database, you can see that these three fields actually contain cells that store number values. Perfect for processing. You see number values can be summed, added together to produce a total. You can get the maximum, the minimum, the average, the variance of these number values. So it's all perfect for processing and summarizing. So for example, I can take tables and drag this field into values. And what I have here is the sum. So for example, that value there, 3081, that represents the total amount of sales involving tables made by Mary over a 3-month period. Now, really what that is, in the case of Mary, I would imagine for tables, it'd be the sum of these values here, all involving Mary, tables, and you can see that the sum is 3081. Now, if you don't want the sum, well, that's easily changed. You can do a right mouse button click over the top of this structure, click on value field settings, and you can choose count and click on OK. I see here that Mary sold 8 tables in that 3-month period. You can go back to sum by doing a right mouse button click over this structure, or you could click right here, go to field value field settings, choose sum again, and there we have it. Look, you can add other fields. Chairs can be added to values. Cupboards can also be added, and it gives you a summary of the activities of our 3 salespeople. If you want to remove this information, well, just click on sum of cupboards in values and just drag it out here and drop it. Click here, drag and drop. Or you can move your mouse up here and just click on this checkbox, and you can see tables as been removed from values. I might go back to Sheet and actually do some summarizing or processing right here. I'll click on E, select that entire column, do a right mouse button click, and click on Insert. And this will be some sort of a subtotal. It'll be the sum. So what I'm using there is the sum function as part of my formula. And I want this value, and this value all to be summed together. The value in B2, C2, and D2 to be summed together. The commas are what they call delimiters. You can close the brackets there. Yeah, that'll give you the sum. Look, I don't think most people would do it that way. Most people would do it in this way here. They would simply type in equals to denote that a formula is being used. They type in sum to use the sum function. Straight away, open bracket, and then they would click here on this first value, drag the mouse over to the very last value, close the bracket, B2 colon D2 describes a range of cells. That's how most people would do it. I'll click in that cell. There's a fill handle, which is that little rectangle there. You can see in the bottom right of the cell. I'll just double click that. I move my mouse. It's a fat white cross. I move it over the fill handle. It becomes a skinny black cross. I double click, and I've got some subtotals there. If I go back to my pivot table, I don't see total here. If I do a right mouse button click over this structure and click on refresh, total appears. I might take that total, drag it across, and drop it in here. Well, they're awfully big numbers. You see, for that 3-month period, January, February, March, Mary sold a total of $9,075 worth of furniture. But you could break that up month by month if you really wanted to. You could move your mouse over month, drag that and drop it into column labels. Oh, that's very powerful. So let's talk about Wilma. For the month of January, she sold $3,199 worth of furniture. But over the 3-month period, she was able to sell $7,804 worth of furniture. Pivot tables are a great way to summarize and process data.